Well, it's time, folks. It's time to celebrate the 4th of July, the birth of the greatest country in the world. 250 years later, we have some things that we need to clear up first. Number one, it's not football, it's soccer, okay? It's not petrol, it's gas. We don't weigh ourselves in stones. We don't spell the word color with the letter U, all right? We don't drive on the wrong side of the road. No. You know what we do? We throw tea in harbors. We cross the Delaware on Christmas Day. And apparently, we put people on the moon.
This week, we're asking questions that go way beyond American borders. Could God have created intelligent life beyond Earth? If our government actually possesses non-human bodies like they say they do, should we even be surprised?
Dr. Joel Muddamalle joins us to uncover ancient biblical connections that completely reshape the story of creation and reveal a side of God that many of us have never even considered.
Then we dive into the unseen spiritual powers that Scripture warns us about, and whether the AI revolution is quietly taking away what uniquely makes us human.
This conversation changed the way that we think about almost everything.
So grab a hot dog, shoot some fireworks off your neighbor's rooftop, and get ready to question everything. Happy 4th of July, and welcome to this week's episode of Ninjas Are Butterflies.
This podcast is brought to you and powered by Sunday Cool. Watch this or listen.
USA! 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 It's just strange how it all worked out.
What are you doing? What was that?
The gray card.
Wait,
Andrew.
That sounded like the voice of God right there.
Gray card.
The gray car. Or like Zordon from Power Rangers. I'm like, where are you trapped, Zordon?
All right. That's what you need.
I know. Yeah.
Gray card.
I need to learn this
That's
stuff.
funny.
One day I want to learn it.
I'm not doing anything. It's just a bit so they think like they need me.
They need you.
I'm just
It's like,
walking around
hey guys,
the room.
everybody wait, just act real stressed out.
Looks at the sandboard, it's like from Fisher Price. What the heck? This doesn't make sense.
It's like, don't worry guys, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Someone's going to go back and be like, he's just touching the couch. He hasn't pushed a single button.
It's like the whole Guy Fieri conspiracy. Have you seen that? How he doesn't eat on camera? And like you go back to the Hot Ones episode, they never show him actually biting and chewing into an actual wing.
It ruined him for me.
It's great. And there's like videos of like him and DDD drivers dives.
Oh yeah.
Where he's like putting it up and he like holds it up to his chin. And then they cut it. And it's like this whole thing. And like,
Is he like alien or something?
I don't know, but there's like legit deep dives into Guy Fieri and how he just doesn't eat food.
I feel like I've seen him eat food though.
I know. I think I have too.
But
It's
the
weird.
whole him not liking eggs,
Wait,
super weird.
but also super weird that you both said that you think that you've seen him eat food.
Yeah,
like that was
right.
not a definitive statement.
Yeah, it's the Mandela effect.
well now I'm questioning. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him eat food, right? Of course.
Yeah, right?
His mom's like, wait a minute. I don't think I've ever seen my son eat food. I've never taken a bite.
Oh, hey, Joel is in the building.
Joel Muddamalle!
Muddamalle, right?
Man, how do you guys nail my last name so well?
Well, I was
Crushed
listening to your audio.
I'm Indian.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Because I've
awesome.
always said Muddamalle, which and you look at the spelling, it's like there's no it doesn't even make sense.
did you say meta?
Yeah, meta.
Meta, like
It's so meta.
You are wearing meta glasses, so that makes sense.
that is true.
So, yeah, you should rebrand, dude.
Do a
Muddamalle.
shirt, Meta Molly.
Muddamalle. Doctor. Right?
I mean, my friends just call me Joel, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
That was
that's
cool.
that's such
That
a
was
cool
pretty
thing to
cool.
become a doctor and be like, yeah, my friends call me, you know.
I actually have this rash if you want to look at it after.
You know, there's actually, so I'm Indian. I don't know if you guys knew that. You know,
You should have waited till I was sipping my coffee
Yeah.
and spit it out.
So like, there is a funny thing. I doubt my mom will ever listen to this or watch this episode. So I
never
can
know.
say
She's on Patreon.
She's kind of a problem in the Discord.
It's like Mrs. Muddamalle. So, you know, I earned a PhD in biblical theology, and like like for Indian parents, typically it's like you've got like really one of three options. It's become a doctor, become an engineer, or become like a finance trillionaire, you know?
Yeah.
And then like the maybe runner-up winner card could be like do something in ministry, you know, if they're Christians. And so I like work my butt off to get this PhD. Like it's an actual PhD, not a doctor of ministry, which there's a whole thing about that. And I get done and my mom's there and she goes, Joey, you know, if you just worked a little bit harder, you could have been a real doctor. Dang it. And I was like, what? You know?
Thanks, Mom.
So we end up, one of my favorite things, like we end up on a flight and I'm with my wife. This was like a year ago. And there was like a medical crisis on the flight, and there's something wrong in my brain. Like I know it. There's something wrong that's disconnected, because it's a serious situation and everybody's stressed out. And they do, like the lady goes, do we have any doctors on this plane? And I raise my hand, and I'm getting ready, and my wife grabs me with a death grip and puts me down and goes, "You will not do this right now." And
I
it
might
was
need Jesus.
man,
It could have been that bad.
You run over there. Do you know our Lord and Savior?
I pull out my YouVersion app, read John 3:16 with me right now.
That's
But
great.
yes,
Greg House hit you with a cane. Wait, what?
Amazing.
That's pretty great though. Being
Yeah.
a doctor, man.
Yeah, I could have. I could have done that route.
I know you were hesitant. You were right there on the edge.
I was
and
right there on the edge.
you said, you know what? I'm not going to take this last credit hour because I don't want that type of stigma on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want people to look at me different.
Yeah. You don't
That's
want
why I stopped
idolize.
at Christian studies.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So smart of you, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do people look? Because I never thought. Now I'm feeling insecure.
Yeah. You probably
what-
should, but
okay. What is the look? What are they looking at me?
you'll
different?
find out.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I did one semester at Bible college. That's about it.
It was Francis Chan's Bible College.
Yeah.
Which is like 3 years in regular Bible college.
It
Wait,
was.
are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh man. So like you've got like an extra dose of the Holy Spirit on you.
Yeah, some would say that.
There's levels.
Levels.
Some would
There's
say
levels
that.
to it.
There's
Yeah.
makeup from last episode on my microphone. I was like, what is that?
Quick bit of housekeeping.
Yeah.
If you'll just pull the mic just a hair closer, it'll
Yeah.
sound way more
Boom.
better.
Oh yeah, more better.
Yeah.
More better.
It's another thing that doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. He's just, it's one of those things.
Well, Dr. Joel Muddamalle.
That was the worst clap.
Do you want a song?
Yeah.
Can we sing you a song?
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen our show, but we I don't think
we sing songs.
No, that's not true. I've seen clips of the show. I've seen clips of the
Okay.
show.
Yeah, well,
and I've seen you live on BlurryCon. What are you guys talking
true.
about?
It's true.
That's right.
Yeah, sometimes we sing a song.
Yeah. I mean, every time.
Yeah. We usually typically wing it, come up with something.
Do you have a genre in mind? Maybe a genre, your favorite genre that we kind of like to improv a little bit.
Like like musical genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my nerdiness is gonna come out, but I'm working on a new project right now, and I had to name like my 3 favorite bands.
Okay.
So my 3 favorite bands I named like in this writing section were, and my age is gonna show. Dave Matthews Band,
Sure.
Mute Math. You guys remember who Mute Math is?
Oh.
You don't know who Mute Math is?
No.
Oh man.
I got you.
You know who Mute Math is? Yeah. The drummer on Mute Math is Darren King.
I just know he duct taped his headphones to his
Yes,
head.
bro. Yes, amazing. And then let's see, who's the third one that I really like?
ABBA?
You like ABBA?
Yeah, ABBA.
That was your third, right?
That was it.
All right.
I was gonna say CC Winans, but it's cool.
No, yeah. That on ABBA. I think
ABBA and Dave Matthews kind of
yeah.
maybe vibe we could do?
Yeah,
That's actually so we can probably come up. We'll pick one of those 3.
yeah.
Yeah, one of the 3 favorites that you like. Yeah, we can just come up with something.
Yeah.
Just
We've done it before.
Kinda
We'll do
like-
it again. 200 episodes. We can do it.
episode 4th of July,
Boom.
Independence Day.
201.
I think America needs a song right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just try to come up with something real like me.
Ready?
Ready?
Yeah. They've been hiding the truth since I don't know when. afraid to say his name will ever end. He wouldn't bow, not a chance, no, wouldn't allow for a king to keep control. Raise taxes that kill our soul. With just one look he made liberty ring. With just one word he changed everything. Whoa, whoa, Muddamalle, he's the founding father. Hey George, why did you even bother? Muddamalle signed the declaration, save the country, that is our proclamation. Yes, you threw the first crate of tea, man, that was great. Why did they forget you? Muddamalle invented apple pie, my, and he never told a lie.
Oh man. So
So that will probably be flagged because it sounded too much like ABBA.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
yeah, but I mean,
It was a little more Dave Matthews
Yeah.
Band, I feel like.
I felt it had a little DVC, you know, DMC.
Obviously, we had to switch your name out for
DMD.
Mamma Mia. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just
Muddamalle.
Muddamalle.
Yeah,
Am I saying it right?
Muddamalle. Yeah.
All right, you say it.
I think
different.
he said it 3 different ways since
think-
he's been here.
I think we
Well,
say
I
it
haven't-
fast enough and you can't catch it.
Yeah.
Try.
There's like
Muddamalle.
an Italian way, like Muddamalle. You know, like,
Yeah, Muddamalle.
yeah,
That does sound better.
I like that
Italian.
better.
yeah, but that's not how you say it.
Hey, Muddamalle.
Yeah, there's like an American way, which is Muddamalle.
Yeah.
That's like how we say it, and there's like an Indian way, like a Telugu way, which is, you know, it's a whole different thing.
How would you
Let's
say
hear
it?
The Telugu way of saying it is Muddamalle.
Muddamalle.
Mudda.
Well, you didn't have to. You didn't have to
Mudda.
add that. That's a little. You did a little head shake there. That's crazy. That was crazy that you did that.
That, you might have some Indian in you. Oh, that was deeply rooted.
Josh has been waiting for a chance to do that without being come across as racist.
That was beautiful.
I'm blushing.
Oh man.
Guys, stop.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, that is fun. Oh, but unfortunately, guys, Dr. Joel Muddamalle, we cannot move on. Again, you've probably never seen that full episode, but unfortunately, every episode, fortunately and unfortunately,
Yeah.
we always have to answer a question before moving on. And it really just dictates the flow of the show and like whether it's going to be a good show or bad show. So a lot is just writing on you and your answer.
Yeah.
These
And
questions are sent in by viewers, our billions of viewers all across the globe,
Yeah.
specifically India.
Yeah. The one-
and
yeah.
just they're dying to hear the answer to their questions, and so we don't know what this question is.
No, and yeah, I just pull it up randomly.
I'm sweating.
Don't worry, it shouldn't be bad.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's a yes or no question. We don't make the rules, you know.
We don't have time to expand.
We
don't-
can't elaborate on it. It's just a yes or no. Then we move on. Hopefully.
Yep.
I'll just get on with it, I guess. 250 years of America.
A lot riding on this. Old glory.
So I think today's question is actually really appropriate.
Okay.
Dr. Joel, today's question sent in by a viewer. Should we celebrate Independence Day?
Don't overthink that.
Yeah, don't overthink it. It's
Yeah.
Maybe you
maybe
should
you
have.
should have.
yeah, maybe we should have overthought it.
No.
So yeah, you said yeah.
Golly, dude, you drove all the way here, man. We've been scheduling this for years. It's just, and this is how it ends.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to continue, Joel. Honestly, because I mean, obviously we're talking about the day that the angels tried to get independence from God, where they disobeyed God, waged war against the heavens, trying to get their independence.
And there Joel sits saying, we should celebrate that.
Yeah, let's celebrate that.
He's kind of made a career off the conversation.
He has.
He values money.
And money and title.
Dude,
Title status.
who invited him here?
And I was trying to read his book and I was trying to understand it. And
Right.
it was like, man, this type of knowledge, these types of words, these big words that he's using.
Exactly.
And it's like, where could he possibly get this knowledge? And now it's all making sense.
Yeah.
It is.
Watch your knowledge.
Watch your knowledge.
He's made a deal. This is them.
That's them.
That's them.
Yeah, I was there on Mount Herman saying, hey guys.
We figured. So let's celebrate that day, guys. I don't know. I mean,
We had a good ride. You know
yeah,
what?
it was fun. But, well, I don't know. Welcome to the show, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what? Remember, we gotta.
Did I say ninja? I meant butterfly. The butterfly is no doubt one of God's most beautiful creations. I said empty your mind.
You learn martial arts! Ninjas attack!
All right.
All right, now that
You guys set
enough
me
of the
up.
funny business.
You guys really set me up for that one.
My poor wife. You need to watch our 200th episode in the gaslight that's involved.
Okay.
I mean, I was throwing beer bottles at my wife's head.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Because we did it for like 200 episodes. And so
like-
she got real sick and tired of it. So she actually brought a legitimate lawyer.
A real
unbeknownst
lawyer.
to us in the middle of it. And, you know, for defamation, for all that stuff, because we would always gaslight her every episode.
Wow. Was it like a glass beer bottle or like a plastic one?
Yeah, there's some, you can
Yes.
see some glass around, I'm sure.
Yeah,
There's
dude.
some remains.
I think I sat on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need a lawyer.
She knows one.
Man, well, welcome to the show, Joel. We've been
Thanks.
trying to get you on forever.
Gosh,
You're
man.
a busy man.
It's been, yeah. You guys also kind of live a little bit,
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
a little bit further out.
Where are you at? Are you in Tennessee? You're not.
Charlotte. No.
Charlotte. Okay.
No, I
cool.
feel like I'm in Tennessee
Yeah.
all the time. But Charlotte, North Carolina, home of the worst basketball team and the worst football team, and the heat and the humidity. But that's
Yeah.
where we are. 10 years.
Well,
That's awesome.
welcome
Gotta
to
love-
Florida. It's not that much better. Some
No.
would say worse.
How many years ago? It was like 2 or 3 years ago whenever we sat around. We met you for the first time. We
Yeah.
sat around a campfire at the
Oh, yeah.
Blurry Con.
Talking
Yeah.
with Bigfoot.
Bigfoot was right next to us.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
that picture of you and Bigfoot like having like a
gotta
really
send
deep
that.
theological discussion.
That was,
You gotta
listen,
send me that. I'll pop it on the
I
screen.
did not. I'll be honest with you guys, man. When I finished my PhD, I did not think that like this would be the situation that I would. But like I met a campfire with Bigfoot and cocktails named after fallen watchers. We've got like super fans that are like actually have read the Book of Enoch and know what's going on. I mean, this is the wildest journey that I could have ever thought of. And yeah, we met, and I think there's before the fireplace, we actually. I don't even know if we should be talking about this, but
You can mention the sacrifice. You can mention the sacrifice.
no, it was right before. No, it was so funny. It was right before you guys had gone up, and there was like a thing that had happened. It was something about like witchcraft or something like that. Do you remember
the lady before us was a very deep and like spiritual, like very serious talk.
Yes, it was extremely
Incredibly
serious,
serious.
and I can't remember who, but one of the your guys' crew had come up and was like, "Is that am I a witch?" Like, you know, like I and at that moment, I knew that we were all friends.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Because I was like, man, yeah, and yeah, that's okay. We can, yeah. What do we do? Like, what do
Yeah,
we
we
do
came
now?
on after the most intense conversation. What did we do the first time?
We sang a song.
You did a song.
We did a song. We did like a Ninjas of Tribal kind
we
of song.
did the tribal chant.
Yeah, you did a tribal chant like right after like a seminary class, basically. I mean, it was deep.
Everyone's
it was deep.
crying and everything. They're like, who are these guys?
Well, I think they might have thought that was part of the deliverance section. They're like, okay.
She's going to come out afterwards and exorcise our demons.
No, that was the.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Super dark.
yeah, that's right.
man.
So fun.
So good. So you just came out with a book.
Yeah.
The Unseen Battle.
Yeah, The Unseen Battle. It is a play off of The Unseen Realm, which is written by my doctoral advisor, Dr. Michael Heiser, and it's a book on spiritual warfare, and it's a little bit more like theology. I mean, you're listening to it right now, so there are some big words. It's a little more theology leaning, but I wanted to write it for the everyday average person who just wants to figure out what the heck is going on with these passages in the Bible that it feels like aren't talked about, but they're clearly there. So do we just skip over them? There's this phrase called demythologizing, where it's almost like if the core of what we believe as Christians is the resurrection of Jesus, which is like spiritual in nature, right? The Immaculate Conception, born of a virgin, lived a perfect life, like literally died on a Roman cross, went to an actual grave, went to Hades during that 3-period time, the descent into Hades, and then comes back and then hangs out with the homies for a period of 40 days in the resurrected body. And then is like, hey, by the way, peace, goes up into heavens and says, I'll be back, but go and here's the Great Commission. Like, that's the core of what we believe, and there's not an ounce of that that's not supernatural and cosmic in nature. So my kind of thought was, how can we try to strip out the supernatural elements of the rest of the Bible, and what is the need to do that? Like, why do we feel the necessity for it? And that was kind of the genesis of the book.
That's super rad. It's
awesome.
I'm like a couple chapters in, and it's super cool. How Dr. Michael Heiser's wife, how she wrote the foreword, that was really super special.
Oh man,
were you super honored by that?
Oh my gosh, super honored. I mean, it's emotional. It's this is the book that I always thought that Mike and I would co-author kind of together.
Cool.
Because it is the next step after the Unseen Realm. Mike kind of does all the ancient, he was a Hebrew specialist, so he's doing on the background for the ancient Hebrew context. And one of the reasons why he had me as his PhD student is because I'm a biblical theology guy. So I want to see how the New Testament and the Old Testament are interacting together as one cohesive story. And I want to do more work on Paul and what he's talking about with powers, principalities, authorities, what's going on with demon exorcisms, and what does that mean for the church today, the local church today. And so I think Mike was like, yeah, that's the next step of what his journey was. He had spent, 15 to 25 years on the Old Testament. So it's like, let me get a PhD student to do all the grunt work for me,
Wow.
And then and so we had literally talked about that. I had submitted my 3rd chapter, and Mike was like clockwork, man. Mike was like the most efficient. If he said he was getting something back to you, it was gonna be on time. And he was late for like a week and a half on getting my edits back for chapter 3. I was like, this is odd. So I texted him, and he was like, hey, I wanted to, basically wait until I got more information. But I know you're on a deadline. Basically, he goes, I've just been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And I'm just like, what the heck? And, it sucks, really. I mean, this is the height of like Unseen Realm is taking off and all these opportunities, And he was like, I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna have to get another reader. Like, you got to fight for your life, literally. And this is so Mike. He texts back. He goes, don't even think about getting another reader. like I'm gonna see you through to the finish line.
Wow.
And that's exactly what he did, man. He
that's so cool.
Finished and defended my dissertation underneath him. And it was about a year and a half later that he passed.
Dang.
And to me, it's an honor to be able to have written that book, to have Drina write the forward to it. Mike and I are very different. If Mike was sitting here right now, like our personality types are totally different. He's more reserved in some ways.
He probably would have loved the song then.
He would have.
Like, I'm out.
Yeah, no, but it's like a different inflection. Like I get to, do the things that he loved, that I love, and we're different people. Like, and we have different views on things, But yeah, it was amazing.
That's so cool.
That is so cool. So there's a little bit of crossover from like people that come from like Blurry and other podcasts that you've been on. But could you give us like a baseline of like, we just love talking about spooky, scary, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I truly fell in love with your podcast on Blurry and the one that Heiser was on Blurry, and just like boom, it just like opened my brain. Just like started like reading scripture differently, and like it was rad. And that's what the book is like about, right? It's like it's about like observing, like looking at scripture from like the cultural or the how things were going back in the day, you know, like with the supernatural stuff and how they viewed it, how they wrote it. So could you give us like a baseline, and then I just want to build off that. And let's speculate. I love speculation.
Oh my gosh, I know. This is like the thing that I get the most stressed out about, because like the baseline is the stuff that is like, yes, like exegetically, in the text, the language, through the ancient Near Eastern context of the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, the Greco-Roman context of the New Testament, like, you know, there's plenty of literature that is on it. Yeah. And then I do think this is such a good exercise, though, on, I like to call it educated speculation, of saying, here's what we can know for sure. Mm-hmm. And now here we have these unexplainable things that are happening in our world. How do we build a bridge from the things that we can define, know for sure from the text, and now educate through like educated speculation, make a conclusion. So okay, here's kind of like the baseline and the framework. And in the unseen battle, this is why I wanted to start with this concept, which right off the bat, when I say this, people are gonna be like, this dude has lost his mind. Like, what? And so here's the big idea, that God has a 2-family household. And you're like, wait, what? The more common understanding is like, yeah, God has a household and he's got human children. Adam and Eve were made in his image and likeness. But that's not the full context of the scriptures. The full context of the scriptures is that God has a 2-family household. He's got spiritual beings that were created that are part of his divine counsel, part of his household, and he has human children that he created in a unique and distinct way that share his likeness and in his image, that are in his image. And where we see this right off the bat, and this is why I think where we start our theology matters. One of our biggest issues in our culture today is we start our theology in Genesis 3, or the big term is anthropology, or study of humanity. We started in Genesis 3 with the fall of humanity. And I'm like, that's kind of a miss, because the Bible doesn't start in Genesis 3. The Bible starts in Genesis 1 and 2. So what is Genesis 1 and 2? It's the story of this mountain that has a garden on top of it called Mount Eden. And on this mountain is the place where God's spiritual family, these angelic beings, live. And I want to be precise. Angelic is a title of a specific kind of spiritual being. There are many kinds of spiritual beings, you know? And so today we use angels as a catch term for all kinds of spiritual beings. But the way the Hebrew Bible uses it is actually as a messenger, as a subset of a series of spiritual beings. So you've got all kinds of spiritual beings on Mount Eden, and you have humanity. You have Adam and Eve on Mount Eden, and this is the place where God always intended for his family to hang out. And this is where the ancient Near Eastern culture, the background matters, how the ancient Hebrews and the people of that time period would have read and understood mountains and gardens. Royal kings planted gardens, and the gardens would have been the place where they would have hung out with their families. So you get the idea that God creates everything that's good, and then he creates spiritual beings. And we know this because in Job 1 and 2, you have this phrase, Bene Ha-Elohim, which is reference to the sons of God. And we want to use the clearest evidence of the sons of God and what we can know these beings to be in order to define the obscure passages. So you have a passage like Genesis 6, and there's a lot of debate on who the heck are these sons of God, and how can angelic beings fornicate with human women, and what do we do with that? And so you have, from the time of Augustine onward, a human reading of the sons of God, which is, in my view, incorrect. It's imprecise, and it doesn't flow with the rest of Scripture. Why? Because in Job 1 and in Job 2, you have the exact same Hebrew phrase, Bene Ha-Elohim, in reference to a divine council scene, which is where the Hasatan, this accuser figure, shows up in order to mess with Job, right? Yeah. So if you're going to opt for a human ruler in Genesis 6, then you're going to have to somehow figure out how humans were transported from an earthly context into a divine council scene and never explain why there's a bunch of humans that are hanging out amongst these, it just is inconsistent. And then that very same phrase, so Job is wild. The story of Job is wild because it's like Job's just getting like destroyed for 37 chapters, right? It's like he's just going through it. And then finally God speaks in chapter 38. And when he speaks in Job 38, there's this verse that says basically like, bro, where were you? This is like Joel's translation, bro. Like, where were you when I created everything? Where were you when the morning stars and the Bene Ha Elohim and the sons of God shouted for joy at the beginning of creation? So now you're like,
there's just a bunch of dudes in the sky.
So yeah, like this is like, like this would be a weird story. Like, oh, so there was a prior creation of humans that were transported into the sky before earthly matter was like, it actually requires more like mental and spiritual and theological gymnastics to even get to that versus a simple reading. And the simple reading is like, bro, it's the sons of God of Job 1 and 2, which is reaffirmed in Job 38. You can trace that to the sons of God in Genesis 6 and in Genesis 6. And we can handle the whole fornication and how you can have hybrid children. We'll get to that, I'm sure, in this conversation. And then you have Psalm 82, another divine council scene. The same phrase is used there as well, which traces us all the way back to Eden, to Genesis 1, that, it was common for God to have his spiritual family with Adam and Eve, which also helps us honestly make sense of why when the Nakash, the Hebrew term Nakash, the serpent, shows up. That Hebrew term, it actually has three things in mind. It can mean a guardian throne room, cherubim kind of being, spiritual being that guards throne rooms. You actually, this is
babies,
ancient.
the baby butt. The baby angels.
Yeah, baby angels that are humanoid. Baby
Just kidding.
angels with mini wings.
Yeah.
They're like, they got them, and the second image is like a serpent-like figure, and then the third is a fiery bronze image. The Hebrew language doesn't demand one over the other. The best way, I think, to read that is say, yes. What is this Nakash? Yes, it's a cherubim, a guardian cherubim that is fiery, that is a serpent-like figure. And so the serpent comes in. Why does Eve not freak the heck out?
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, the reason why she doesn't freak out, and this is actually spiritual warfare. This is like the pragmatics of this. The issue actually isn't what the thing looks like. The issue is, what does the thing say? And it's like in our world today, man, we've got lots of things that look good. Lots of things that would pass just the sniff test. But the question is like, what are they doing to us? Yeah. What is it leading us to? What is it actually saying about ourselves and about who God is? And in that place, like, we have to discern to determine what's actually happening. And so when you have this understanding of the sons of God, of spiritual beings and a human family that actually helps us set the scene for the cosmic conflict that's taking place throughout the entire Hebrew Bible. Like, there is a reason why everywhere you're turning, from the Exodus scene to the plagues, the 10 plagues, each of the 10 plagues mirror one of the pantheons of the gods, of the Egyptian pantheons. Like, these aren't throwaway ideas. It's like, you're following these deities that were known for their frog-like imagery, or for the power of the life of the Nile that brought life and sustenance. It's like, God's like, I got you. Watch this happen. Watch the very deities that supposedly have the power over these things, how they're subversive, actually, or submissive to what I can do. Yeah. We read these in isolation, and it's like, God did a miraculous thing. Cool, let's move on. Good job, Moses.
Yeah,
versus
you back out, and it's like, this all connects.
Bro, this all connects. Yeah. And it's actually setting you up for the New Testament.
That is pretty crazy to read it, like, just completely reading it out of context of just like not understanding what the culture of Egypt was like and the deities and the gods. So you're just like, a bunch of frogs, like the Nile turned into blood. It's like, okay, that's like weird, but
what a cool God prank.
Yeah. But how it's like, it was literally like God was opposing each of those false gods or what you would say like principalities, right?
Yeah. So these these pantheon of gods were not a figment of the imagination of an ancient people. That's another huge issue, right? Where it's like, they just were non-scientific. They, they didn't understand the table of, like, what is it? Not table of contents, the table of elements.
Oh yeah,
The periodic table.
Okay.
I got there. I got a PhD, but it's
Yeah,
in theology. Not in science.
Dude, Dr. Josh in the building?
Wow. I mean, like, these were real beings. These were real beings with limited power that exercised power. And so here are all these examples where God's like, hey, you're going to be tempted. You're going to be tempted to follow after them because they're going to show some level of power. But in each of these moments, be reminded that there's a distinction. There's a difference between created things and the uncreated creator of the world. And that's a really big issue. And this is the other thing where people start to panic sometimes with this whole idea of gods. It's because of our English language has kind of screwed us up, where we have just loaded a single term with so much meaning that the Hebrew Bible and the Greek text of the New Testament doesn't feel the necessity to do. So when we say like the English term gods, right? It's like, you can't, like, there's only one God, like monotheism, like you can't. And it's like, well, the Hebrew term Elohim is a categorical term for spiritual beings, and Yahweh is technically a spiritual being. So you have an adjective or you have some kind of descriptive in front of Elohim to describe based off of context or language when we're referring to Yahweh versus other Elohim, other spiritual beings. Deuteronomy 32:17 is a perfect example of this, where you have spiritual beings who are demonic, shadim, that are not Yahweh. So Mike has this great phrase in the unseen realm, and I think it's the best way to describe it, is Yahweh is species unique, that Yahweh is Elohim, but no other Elohim could ever be Yahweh. And with that clarity, you go, oh, yeah, like, that works. Yeah. I now don't need to stress out or try to create some reason why these gods can't be real, you know?
Yeah, we always talk about the battle with, like, they were literally turning their staffs into serpents as well. So it's like, you read that, I mean, VBS goes through that, like little kids, and it's like, but somehow the reality of the weight of actual quote unquote magic, whatever they would have called it, spiritual things. But I'm hung up, like, I've never thought about the relationship in the garden, not just Eve to God, capital G, but the fact that she would have been having interactions with all other sorts of angelic beings. And it's like, so the serpent shows up and it's like, one of you, you know, like, it's not,
it wasn't
it's not
like
a talking snake. It's like, I've seen weirder things or, you know, like, or whatever. And so, like, the fact, to your point, it's like to test the language, like to test that, to like suss it out, see what's going on. I think that's like really interesting and applicable. I've never made that thought before.
Well, I'm thinking about it too, like, at the very end of it, what is presented, what protects Eden from, you know, these knuckleheads coming back in and ruining everything? Guardian cherubim are placed there, you know? And then you have, like, Jacob's ladder, this wild dream where Jacob watches angelic spiritual beings go up and down, you know? It's where are they going up and down from? It's like, oh, there are these moments that are interjected inside of the scriptures to remind you and I that our modern post-enlightened, you know, 21st century mind wants to create a separation between what is, we would call spiritual, which I don't think is, you know, is whatever. It's like there's a spiritual or supernatural, and then the earthly. The biblical text is not interested in that. It's just not interested in creating a demarcation or separation of those two, because that is not the idea that God has always wanted for his creation. God always wanted Eden. Well, what is Eden? The meeting point between the heavens and the earth. What's the trajectory of the scriptures? Is like the foundational stuff. The trajectory of the scriptures is not a disembodied experience. It's not like, yo, we're just going to float away like angels someday in baby diapers, floating in wings with a can of beer up there. Like, you know, like, that's not the picture. The picture is actually new heavens and new earth. The picture is Jesus in the resurrection, like, yeah, touch my hands, bro. Like, you know, like, and walk through doors. It's not either or. It's both and. And that's what we find in Eden, is not an either or, but a both and.
On earth as it is in heaven.
Yes, dude. This is Jesus' prayer. Right? And in a way, we're doing a disservice to ourselves by not in a way, I'm going to say it's stronger. we are doing disservice to ourselves by not seeing the spiritual reality, the cosmic context of the Bible, and understanding how it plays into our world today.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is like, basically, how does it benefit your spiritual life, your pursuit of the gospel, pursuit of Christ, to better understand these things, the spiritual aspect of Scripture?
Yeah.
Like what does it add to it, or
Yeah. There's this great quote from C.S. Lewis. I opened the book, I opened Unseen Battle with this, and it's a quote from Screw Tape Letters. And Lewis is like, and I'll summarize him. Lewis is basically like, the dark powers, they love one of two things. The first is a materialist, and the second is a magician. And what Lewis is saying is like, the first is like, just ignore them. Like, there ain't no dark powers out there.
It doesn't exist. It
doesn't exist, bro. Like, you're good. Like, you're fine, But the second one is an obsession. The second one is like, but there's a demon around every corner. Like, the demon made me do this. The demon, did that. And Lewis is basically like, either of those camps, you're caught up. Right? Because you're compromised, you're vulnerable in both of those settings. So the goal here, why this is so important, and this actually is exactly what Peter says in 1 Peter 5:8. Peter says, be sober-minded. Right? The dark powers don't want sobriety of mind. They want a compromise of mind. They want inebriation. They want intoxication. In fact, that word, if you were sitting in the church in Corinth or Galatia or Ephesus, and you heard that word, sober-minded, the opposite of that word in Greek is actually a term that was used common in cultic temples. I think the Oracle of Delphi and in these different, the Temple of Artemis, and it was a type of intoxication term that was used to meet with the deities, basically. So it's like, you want to meet with the spiritual beings? Great. First, you got to compromise your mind. First, you got to take these drugs. First, you got to do these kinds of things. What I think is fascinating is Yahweh's like, hey, you want to meet with me? Great, I got you. Be sober-minded.
Yeah, the complete opposite.
Yeah, I don't want you to be compromised.
Yeah.
I want you to have your full faculties about you.
Stay focused.
Yes, and then
but not paranoid.
But not paranoid. And then it's like, and be aware because the devil is crouching, the enemy is waiting to devour you, right? Which is actually a hyperlink and echo all the way back to Genesis 4 and the Cain and Abel story. And so when you and I are aware of the spiritual cosmic reality of the Bible, it puts us in a position of sobriety of mind. Like, we're aware, we can discern, we can say, yeah, hey, by the way, those things over there, 100% dark powers, 100%, like the tarot cards, the astrology, those things are connecting you to a kind of power, right? The giving your hand up for a hand automated, right? Like these kinds of things. There's darkness on the opposite side. This is the Witch of Endor with the necromancer, situation with Saul. Basically, the Witch of Endor is like, oh, and then cuss word. It's like, you're not, because the issue there is she's used to conjuring up a spiritual being. The problem is she experiences an Elohim, a spiritual being that she's not expecting.
Yeah.
So she goes, and then she looks at Saul and she's like, you caught me up, dude. Like, what is going on? So she's terrified.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, yeah, you want sobriety of mind. You want to be able to discern. And when we do that, I think it helps us to be better witnesses of Jesus. It helps us to know how to, I'm a dad. I've got 4 kids, The world that my kids are living in is so different than the one that I grew up in. And it's like, I have to be aware. The way I say it is the dark powers love to mass market sin. They love to mass market sin. And so I want my kids to not just know A plus B equals C, but I want them to know what A is and what B is so they can make sense of what C is. So in any situation and context, one of my favorite definitions of discernment is, it's by Charles Spurgeon. It's discernment isn't the determination between right and wrong. It's determining between right and almost right. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah. Right? Like, don't throw out all kinds of spirituality because our literal Christian faith is spirituality. Yeah. This is what we're doing when we take communion. This is what we do when we pray, when we worship. Like, all of that is spiritual. But don't get caught up in the things that are going to take you sideways.
Yeah. I imagine that imagery just takes me to Indiana Jones going through a tunnel or something. And it's like, he has a job to do. There's a mission. He's got to get somewhere. but he knows there's booby traps, right? And he could, he's being aware, he's being focused, he's being on guard, but he's also not paranoid, looking at every rock and everything. Like he's just, you're aware that they're there. You know what exists. You got to keep moving forward, but don't be dumb and start running, take sprints, and so you get a spike in your head. Like it's just it's that weird balance of you don't want to become obsessed with it, but also the church culture that we have nowadays in America, at least, it's just we're in a rhythm of, just be better than you were yesterday. And it's like, we're ignoring, like you said, the cosmic and supernatural of the Bible. And we go, and nothing against sermon series or anything like that, or VBS stuff, but it's like we teach one story and we jump, but we don't connect and we don't understand like the depth of all of this scripture. And I think that's what will excite people is that God had a plan all along. And he's thinking about us the whole time and trying to figure out like, this is the goal.
Yeah, like, okay, so Indiana Jones is amazing. I remember watching the Temple of Doom. Remember the Temple of Doom? And dude, that was dark. Like
Dr. Jones! Dr. Joel!
There
we go.
Okay, so to remind me, Indiana Jones, is he an archaeologist?
Yeah.
He's a historian and archaeologist,
Professor,
right?
yeah.
Professor. Okay, so I didn't even expect this. This is what I love about these conversations because you guys bring these things up. I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I was in Israel years and years ago with like a legendary archaeologist. This dude's like brilliant, There's this thing called the Museum of the Bible. I'm not sure if you like, and so this guy was actually one of the very first dudes that was actually helping the Green family to kind of like curate some of their stuff that eventually became the Museum of the Bible. So we're talking a long time ago. Okay.
Dang.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. And so I'm a nerd like all the way through. So like, even when I walked into here, I'm like, what? I did not know what I was expecting, and now that I'm here, I don't want to leave. I want to know every part of this entire thing, and it has nothing to do with my job, but I just am passionate about that. So I'm like following this dude around, and he's like giving us a tour, and he said something to me that I won't ever forget. He goes, "Hey Joel, archaeology is a destructive science." I was like, "What?" He goes, yeah, archaeology by nature is a destructive science. I'm like, explain that to me. And he goes, an archaeologist, the lead archaeologist, when he goes out to a site, he has to do all of the research about that civilization. Like they got to know everything that they can before they even get into doing the archaeological work. They got to know about the civilization. And here's why. Because as you dig and you get to that civilization, you have to also recognize that underneath that civilization is another civilization. So the archaeologist has to make a determinative decision at some point. Have we learned everything that we can? And now is it worth it to get to the civilization underneath? But in order to get underneath it, what do you have to do?
You have to destroy them.
You got to,
yeah,
right?
Dang.
Like, you're like, what? Okay, now think about Indiana Jones. So how is it when he goes to the Temple of Doom and he does all this stuff that he doesn't get distracted? Well, the reason why he doesn't get distracted is because the homeboy has already read all the books.
Yeah.
He's already researched. He's already studied. He's all right.
Prepared.
He's prepared. So when he goes in, he doesn't have an ADD squirrel brain going, because he's like, oh yeah, I remember that. But that's not the point. This is the point. Like, this is where I need to go. And I want to like layer that onto Christianity and to like us as believers. It's like, it's so simple, but it's not simplistic. It's like, hey, I want everybody to read my book. I really do. Like The Unseen Battle, I'd love for you to get it. But listen, if you have to pick between reading my book and reading the Bible, you better dang well read the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, don't even open up my book until you have read the Bible. And as you're going through my book, chase down every cross-reference. Chase down, right? And correct me if I'm wrong in any of these places, because we need to understand the Bible. And then to your Vacation Bible School example, how do we do the flood? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like this is like Hallmark Vacation Bible School, but we never do Genesis 6:1-4.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you pick up on verse 5 and you leave a generation of kids thinking the flood is this standalone little tiny, and then we just kind of, broad brushstroke, just sin.
Yeah.
Like,
Bad people.
It even has like
Cain and Abel and then the flood. And it's just like, that's how we teach kids. It's like stories. And
it's even like theological, like it shapes the mind because we're like, humans can be so bad that God would hate them that much.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's something else going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Genesis 6:1-4, the sons of God. And this is where I do think that, man, if you're aware of Second Temple literature and you're aware of the story of the Apkallu and the Mesopotamian myth, and you're aware that there are competing creation narratives here, and each of those competing creation narratives have a purpose. I'm doing a bunch of study right now on like algorithms and AI and all this other stuff for another a future book project. And it's like pretty fascinating because it's like, and there's this thing that said, that algorithms all have a goal. Every algorithm has a goal, but a person has to dictate what that goal is, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, what is the goal in Genesis 6 with the sons of God and the human women? And I make the argument in the Unseen Battle that I actually think this is the origination of human sex trafficking. I think this is actually where the whole concept comes from, because in a patriarchal ancient society, it would have had to have been the fathers who exchanged the daughters. And guess what happens when Enoch, kind of the book of Enoch, but the book of Enoch is 3 books. I think it's important for people to understand that. It's and the second 2 books are highly unreliable.
Right.
They're kind of wild. It's the first book, the book of the Watchers, chapters 1-36, I believe, that is of the most importance, that gives us this background information. And what it's doing is it's retrieving. So this is, I got caught up in a different interview, and I want to clarify this. It is retrieving an ancient story that was an oral tradition around the time of Genesis 6. Enoch was written many years later, Second Temple literature, right? But what it's doing for us is a retrieval of this oral tradition, and then it's a preservation of that oral tradition. It's keeping it intact so that we can go back and be like, oh yeah, okay. And now for us today, it's a transmission of that tradition, so we can make sense of what's taking place in Genesis 6. And so what is it? There was an exchange of goods. It's these sons of God go, hey, you know what? Humanity has desires. Same thing back in Eden. There's this pattern: see, desire, take. And every time those 3 ideas, the 2 Hebrew words that are encompassed in those 3 English words, are present in the biblical text, the majority of the time it's always bad for humanity. When they see something and then they desire it and they take it, Eve sees of the fruit, desires of the fruit, and takes of the fruit, right? The sons of God see the daughters of man, they desire the daughters of man, and they take them for themselves. And then the Enochic tradition goes, hey, by the way, how did they like conjure up this incredible opportunity, right? I don't think that this is forceful, because there's different Hebrew language to describe forceful acquisition.
Gotcha.
This is not forceful. This is business. This is political in a sense. This is strategic, and it's an exchange of goods. It's like, oh, what does humanity desire? Power. They desire money, opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I know what we'll do. You give us your daughters. We'll give you all the sciences.
Let's make a transaction.
Let's make a transaction, right? And what I find most fascinating about the whole thing is this is the subtle deception of the dark powers. Is they're like, we're going to give you all the things that you think are so good for you, right? And it's like, you got the money, you got the power, you've got the sciences, you've got the cosmetics, you've got the pharmakeia, the pharmaceutical kind of things, how to cut roots. And I think that one's like amazing, because it's like, hey, on the one end, you can cut roots and you can make medicine to heal.
Yeah, you can save lives.
You can save lives.
Yeah.
On the other end, you can cut roots and create hallucinatives so that you can connect with the deities.
Yeah.
So look at how they're already being like, I wonder which way humanity is going to go, right? Like, you can take narcotics and you can use it for pain relief, or you can use narcotics to like screw you up, you know?
Yeah.
But there's one thing that only has one purpose, that the dark powers, that the sons of God give to humanity. The one thing, the metallurgy piece, swords. Swords have one purpose: take life.
Yeah.
To kill. And even like placed right in there is,
or
like,
you could be like Wes Huff and just be a nerd and collect them.
Exactly. But
Just kidding.
Easy with the nerd word, man.
but honestly, that sword, I looked at it and I was like, bro, I want to pick one of these up.
I know swords are pretty cool.
Yeah, like because there's like a Roman gladiator like sword, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, my wife will never let me buy this, because I'm like expecting like Amazon, you know, like that ain't Amazon price, bro. let me tell y'all right now, that's like collector item. But the purpose of that is to take, to destroy, and this is how the dark powers work.
Dude, I'm unpacking this in my head right now, but thinking about Sodom and Gomorrah and like how fallen civilization or humanity can be. It's like the passage where they desired
Yeah.
the two people, but it's like they were first, to some extent mentally corrupted, and now two angels show up and they say, no, we know this relationship, we want them. Like that's always like in the church taught from like a certain perspective,
Sure.
used to say like we're against these type of people.
Mm-hmm.
But to think about it in light of Genesis 6 and in light of those relationships,
That's interesting. Yeah.
it's like dude, there's a guy, he's like, he does this like God's voice teaching him as he reads the Bible. I forget his account.
Does God's voice? What
He does. He's like, God, show me something from your word today, and then he does like a voice from off the camera, and it's so
like a joke.
It's a yeah.
Okay.
He's not like actually speaking.
I was like, because is he really talking about God? Because I want to.
no. Yeah,
I'm just like, I love this guy.
Can you like,
you're like,
can you-
oh my god.
Can
He's
you
my
bang
prophet.
on that and then talk again? Because that will be God's voice to us right now.
Yeah, just add some reverb.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, he's the one who kind of he posted about that, but I was like, holy crap. It's everywhere through every story that we ever grew up with.
So,
And
like-
then it comes back to that.
I love talking to you guys because this is why I think reading the Bible is so important. Is you won't understand and connect the hyperlinks. This is like the snowball effect. It's like you got to start at the top with the basics of what we started this entire conversation with, and then you start hitting up these other passages. You go, wait a minute, this is so much more than the stripped down reductionistic view that we've learned in Vacation Bible School. And I'm not hating on pastors. Like I'm actually super empathetic to pastors. You've only got a certain amount of time and research or whatever else. But at the same time, bro, like, insist, like, if you're not teaching and equipping your people, somebody else is going to.
Yeah.
And they are doing it right now, So let's go to the Sodom and Gomorrah one. I actually think what's happening with the Sodom and Gomorrah one is you have this is almost a redemptive reversal of what happens with the Genesis 6 one. Right? In the Genesis 6 one, you've got the angelic beings who are actually the initiators, the instigators, they see, they desire, right? But after that whole corruptive situation takes place, the world is still going into its perpetual cycling sin. Now you have angelic beings, which also is like, this is my point too for why the sons of God, it makes sense for them to be able to, from a logical, speculative standpoint, fornicate with human women, because there is something from a physicality standpoint that allows the people in Sodom and Gomorrah to look at these two beings and to recognize them as male.
Mm-hmm.
There's a gendered reality. There's a physicality to it. If you read the text, it's really fascinating because when Lot goes out, the angelic beings, they grab Lot and bring him back in. A spiritual being can't grab things, right? Unless it can take corporeal form in different times and different places for a reason. The angelic beings eat with Abram. Right? So they have to, in some way, for a season, have a digestive system, right?
And
So-
poop. Angels poop.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here
Joel.
first.
That's all anyone's gonna remember.
Yeah, I actually didn't say that. You guys said that. But to your point, and then
Holy.
yeah. But yeah, man, to your point, it's like Lot should have been the one who stepped forward and like protected everybody, and instead he's like, hey, look at what happened. Who can you have? Have my daughters. Wait, what happened in Genesis 6? Oh yeah, you can have my daughters, right? And then what do the angels do? The angels are like the flip. The angelic beings are the flip. They're like, nah, dude, you no, come back here, close the door. And this is why everything is about to go down, And then
Old
they
habits.
bounce. Yeah. So
Wow.
but how? Yeah, I mean, this is the
Well, then
benefit.
that kind of speak like Andrew's basically saying that, but like the people of Sodom and Gomorrah probably would have had that idea then of Genesis 6, right? Because they're like angels, we got to do something about that to create whatever they did back in Genesis 6. That's
They were trying
probably
to-
speculation.
Well,
but
he said he's writing a book on AI. I think he's saying Sodom and Gomorrah was where they tried to invent AI by taking the two angels. So
No, I didn't say that. No, I don't know. I don't know what their intent was. I don't necessarily think that the intent was like, oh, we know what happened in Genesis 6. Let's try to do that. Because you also have the reality of two dudes trying to go with dudes. So like from a procreation standpoint, that's problematic there.
True.
I think that it's a literary tactic. It's a literary style that is showing us throughout the Bible that there are these stories that are being inverted. There are these stories
see.
that are intended to be read in contrast together.
Yeah.
And so, but if you don't know the actual story, in Genesis 1 through 12, which, by the way, like most Hebrew scholars would say that you really need to understand Genesis 1 through 11 to understand the rest of the Bible. So, like, if you are like, hey, what am I going to do for the next 30 days? I would be like, if you do this for the next 30 days, every day, and I'm going to disagree with the Hebrew scholars because I'm a biblical theology guy. So I'm going to say Genesis 1 through 12, include the Abrahamic covenant. If you just read Genesis 1 through 12 for the next 30 days, your mind is going to be blown. Like every day, read 12 chapters, Genesis 1 through 12. You will not read the rest of the Bible the same way. Like it will change your life in the most, because there's this term called recapitulation. It is a retelling of all of these core fundamental kind of canon stories in Genesis 1 through 12 that we're intended to have deeply rooted inside of us so that when we see it play out over and over and over again, we go, wait, that's the tree. Wait, that's the serpent. Wait, that's the sons of God. Wait, that's the daughters of man. Wait, that's the Tower of Babel. Wait, that's humanity united in a corrupt way, not a unique way. Wait a minute, this is the fulfillment of the Abrahamic covenant. Like that God would use one family, one man and his family to be a blessing to all the nations of the world. Wait a minute, the idea of Gentile inclusion isn't a brand New Testament idea. It was actually embedded in the Hebrew Bible in the Old Testament. Wait a minute, in the Exodus you have a mixed multitude that comes out of Egypt, which means the very core of the Israelite people are already mixed. Hold up 1 second. You're trying to tell me that the 12 tribes of Israel, Joseph's mixed sons, biracial sons, actually make up the very 12 tribes of Israel. So you actually have a mixed race people in the 12 tribes of... Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay, I get it. I should take the Bible seriously on the Bible's terms, not my terms.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The way that they understood it in their and please don't let's not look at them like they're like the people of the Bible in the Old Testament, the New Testament were these kind of dumb, unscientific, they didn't know what they were talking about. Like God in his providence gave us the scriptures to be written in a time and place so that actually I think it could deal with our stupidity today.
True that.
I think we're honestly more dumb in some significant ways.
That's why he gave us the Holy Spirit full time. He's just like, in the Old Testament, he's just like, it's touch and go for a while. He'll give and take. He's like, these guys need all of it.
That was good. That's right.
Funny. Oh, man. Okay, well, I think we just got to talk about aliens.
Oh,
but let's do it right after this. So don't go anywhere.
What up, beautiful people? I'm right here outside Sunday Cool, which inside Sunday Cool is Ninjas or Butterflies, and exclusively at patreon.com/Ninjas or Butterflies. You can see all the stuff that we do behind the scenes, early release, merch, discounts, all sorts of stuff. Sometimes Andy gets inspired, he does a vlog. It's pretty rad. And I'm very thankful that he edits some of the stuff. He did some of the ads today, and he's my best friend, so I'm very thankful for that. Not my wife. He's not my wife is my best friend. He's my best guy. Well, Josh too. Anyways, patreon.com/Ninjas or Butterflies. We post everything there that the YouTube algorithm hates, and hopefully, you guys subscribe to Patreon so we can keep doing what we do. And if you have, or if you've even considered it, or if you have more money, you would do it. Whatever it is, we love you. I just love you anyways, but I'm very thankful to have a Patreon so we get to do all that extra fun stuff. This makes no sense. Bottom line, go to Patreon. There's stuff there that you're going to want. So, okay, love you. Bye.
I can't wait to do the gator hunt.
Oh, yeah.
I'm following this guy that's called like the Florida. His name's like Florida Python something, and they have little tiny it's like super powered airsoft guns. And they're just
for
like iguanas, and they have like a dog that goes and fed. I'm like, this guy's awesome.
That's cool.
We got to get this guy on.
Yeah, iguana hunting seems dope.
They're crazy though. They can scratch you up.
Yeah, man.
The tail? Have you seen the tail?
Oh yeah, they're gnarly.
It's a freaking whip, dude.
Bunch of Hillary Clintons out there, am I right?
Whoa! Let's dive into it.
USA! USA!
But you also
Get
have
her,
like a
lock her up. Lock.
Show us the emails. Come on.
All right, relax.
show us the emails.
Oh.
Don't get me started on Israel. Well, okay, all right.
All right,
Pop the
all right.
brakes.
Hey,
Pop the brakes.
everyone, chill out.
We're gonna get flagged.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't
don't
cancel
cancel
free
me.
country.
I just want to point out God's providence and sovereignty because look at the shoe.
Look at the drip
to the jersey like this
from sea
Boom.
to shining sea.
from
Boom.
like, and I almost wore my black Air Maxes instead because I was in all black and I was like, I gotta do a little pop of something.
You felt it.
I felt it.
Yeah.
I felt it, and look at how God provided.
Dude.
God provided. 'Cause
It's
I know
possible that's a woman's shirt, by the way,
it's okay.
because I think the buttons look like they're on the wrong
Not
side.
today.
Are they?
Yeah.
Was it Michael Scott? He says, "What brand is it?" He says, "It's Mysterious."
That's a dope shirt, though.
That's a dope. Yeah,
I love it.
Can I keep this?
That's
You
yours.
can keep it if you want.
Oh, I'm gonna keep it. And
I wish you two disagreed.
I think it's a dumb shirt.
No, I mean, like, can I keep it? One of you is like, no.
Oh, man. Okay.
Let's dive in.
Let's just dive in.
Joel, do you believe in aliens?
Yes
I
or
think
no?
I think it depends. It depends on what you mean by aliens.
I want to hear some stuff that you've never talked about on the podcast. I want to hear some good speculation stuff.
some good speculation stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I mean, I can go a little bit deeper on some things. Then we can do some UFO stuff. But let's go back to Eden and let's go back to the serpent.
Let's do it.
So I do think that there's something going on with astral projection, with the serpent and with the chronology of the fall. So the way that I frame it in the Unseen Battle is that you have three rebellions. You've got a rebellion in Genesis 3, a rebellion in Genesis 6, and a rebellion in Genesis 11, read with Deuteronomy 32, 8, and 9. Now, the interesting thing about the opening phrase of the Bible in Genesis 1 was, in the beginning, Bereshith. The Hebrew grammar there, it's kind of wild. The Hebrew grammar there doesn't demand, actually, most often it doesn't refer to, like, if we have, a time span, this is called aspect, I believe. This is the start, this is the end, and aspect is what's happening in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Bereshith doesn't demand that we're talking about the start. It actually has in mind sometime in this space that's called the beginning, God creates. So when does he create? Does he create right here? Does he create right there? Does he create there? Does he create there? That's not the point. The point is it's not this, but it's somewhere in between these two things.
Right.
Which now begs the question. The very next phrase then is Toho Baboho. And the universe, the world was wasteland and wilderness. It was chaos and fury, right? So how do you get a land that is wasteland and chaos and fury? I believe, and this is some educated speculation along with some other passages in Isaiah and throughout the minor prophets, that there seems to be some kind of cosmic conflict that took place prior to the creation of humanity.
In that between. That's so fun.
Okay, so what is that cosmic conflict? How did it happen? When did these things get created? That's not the point of the Bible. And we get so stressed out about that because we want the Bible to answer our questions. And the Bible's like, I actually don't care about your questions.
Yeah.
The point of Genesis 1.
Who's that?
Sounds like it's coming from over there. Is that your phone?
No. Oh, yeah, it is.
Whoa! That scared me. That scared me. I was like, who's talking right now?
It was playing in my meta things.
Oh, funny.
Oh, man. You guys will be so disappointed to know what audiobook I'm listening to right now. It's Game of Thrones, just so you guys know. It's book 5. I'm probably in book 5. So it's not talk. That's never happened to me before, by the way. I don't want to know what I looked like when that was happening because I thought it was that.
I did too.
I'm like, did that get through? Because it sounded like it was on. I could listen to 1.7, you know. So I'm like, oh my, like it was like overdubbed. Anyways, So what? That's not the point of the Bible. The Bible is not in Genesis 1, 2, 3 trying to give us the origin story of all of the cosmos. That's not. It's giving us the origin story of the earth, of humanity on earth. It doesn't feel a necessity to tell us about when the angels were created when the spiritual beings were created beforehand, which to me leaves open the idea that there was some kind of cosmic conflict that was so cosmic in nature that it created destruction. It created chaos. In the midst of that chaos, the Toho Baboho, Yahweh comes in and and makes order, creates order, and then creates a garden. And when he creates that garden, he places Adam and Eve in that garden, and then he creates animals as well, right? So all the animals are created. Now the question is, how does the serpent get in? You know, so we talked about the Nakash, we talked about the Hebrew terms for it. Here's my speculation, and I don't have this all fleshed out, but I do have some exegetical argumentation for why I think that this is a both ands, not an either or. I do think there is a literal serpent that is in mind, and there might have been some sort of astral projection of the cherubim figure as a spiritual being that made an unholy alliance with the serpent. And the reason why I say this is because it says that in Genesis, it says that all of the animals, not a suitable helper was found for Adam. Right? Mm-hmm. But there's a detail about the serpent that I think is fascinating. And the detail is that the serpent was crafty. The Hebrew term is arum. It was not just wise, but it was almost like devious a little bit, right? Like it could use its wisdom in crafty ways and like sneaky ways. So why that detail? Here's my speculation. I think this is a scene from The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. And I think like the rose wasn't given to the serpent, right? Like all the animals present themselves, everyone, you know, and it's like, there's not a suitable helper. But the serpent's like, well, forget all you. I'm freaking crafty. I'm smart. Like, you know? So then the cherubim, the Nakash goes, there's disgruntlement in the animal kingdom. Oh, you that's all pissed off right now because you weren't picked. Hey, let me catch a ride. What do you think we just, you know, play a little game here? And so I think there might have been some level of astral projection where there's an unholy alliance made between the spiritual being and the serpent. And the reason why I'm more convinced of this the more I think about it is it's inconsistent to me for a punishment to be given in the consequence chapter of Genesis 3 to Adam individually. Remember Adam's punishment is the toiling. Mm-hmm. To Eve, her punishment, which is now translated to all of humanity, right? They're prototypical punishments that not transcend to all of humanity. So Adam's toil, man, I woke up this morning, my freaking back hurt. Why did my back hurt? Because I'm in my 40s and I woke up. That's why my back hurt. Like it sucks, right? So yes, there's the toiling, the work, right? For Eve, childbirth, you know, that freaking painful. I've watched my wife now give birth 4 times. Like, no joke. That thing is not fun, right? To the serpent, why give the serpent the punishment of crawling on your belly? Right? Unless there was a legitimate action made by an actual serpent that would then correlate with the consequence and punishment in the same fashion as man, woman, animal. Because if there wasn't an actual serpent involved, it's inconsistent to me, right? And it feels a little bit cruel for God to be like, all right, all snakes, we got to pick one of the animals. So all snakes are just going to, you know, it's like, well, no, there's almost the sense of like, the snake itself participated, which is why it has to crawl on its belly. And then wild, you're going to eat the dust, which is actually a Hebraic play on words because Adama is the Hebrew term, comes from the soil. Adama is the soil, Adam is humanity. And so the thing that the serpent tries to devour, right, humanity, actually becomes a thing that suffocates it as it's crawling on its belly in a humiliation standpoint. And so that's where I think, like, from a speculation standpoint, I think there's so much more that's going on there. And I think it opens up the door for astral projection and unholy alliances. And the idea of possession then is there as well. Because when you have possession, you now have this principle that's in play, which is a willing withdrawal, a willing yielding to your faculties, to your body, to dark forces, and where you yield, the dark powers will step in freely, you know? And now we move from a type of totality and control, you know? And this gets really interesting, obviously, when we think about demon possession and we think about Christians and the indwelling Holy Spirit, and I write about that in detail in the Unseen Battle towards the end of the book. But even that is reductionistic to say, like I've heard it said, I used to say, well, you're a Christian, you can't be demon possessed. That's imprecise. Like the Bible in the New Testament uses a Greek term, daimonizomai, and probably the best way to translate it is to leave it transliterated as just demonized. And like, why would Paul and why would the New Testament say, be careful, don't give the enemy a foothold? He's talking to believers. He's talking to Christians, right?
Yeah.
Well, the purpose of a foothold isn't to stay in the outside. It's not just to hang out on the outside. It's to get deeper in. And so there's specific Greek terms that are used for actual possession. Those terms are not used when it comes to demonic experiences with the believers. But daimonizomai is used, this demonized idea. And then you have the vice list that Paul gives in Galatians 5 and in 1 Corinthians. And it's like, oh, were you and I willingly participate in sinful behavior, in actions that compromise our humanity, good things, any good thing that becomes an ultimate thing is always an idolatrous thing, right? So, like, you can enjoy good things. I'm not saying don't. Like, have bourbon, like smoke a cigar, like enjoy a good beer. Like I'm not even like anti any of that. What I'm concerned about is when those things become ultimate things for you. And when they become ultimate things, they become compromising things and idolatrous things. And in that place where you're compromising, you're opening a door for the enemy to willingly step in. And if we're not careful, there will be a place where they will come in and they will exercise a kind of control, not because they have overpowered you per se, but because you've willingly been like, I'm backing out.
Yeah.
And when you back out, the enemy's happy to step in. And so that's another kind of point of clarification that in some way dovetails all the way back to this first story of this serpent and the Nakash and an unholy alliance and astral projection, which would be like, oh yeah, okay.
Have you read Crowley's stuff? Like, I know it's like super weird, but like that's the core of Thelema, like his cultish religion. Because there's another story I'm going to talk about Monday, but like literally he's talking about like how to channel entities, and it's like a point. He gets like super weird with it for the sake of the children watching, not going there, but like the point where you've completely surrendered yourself to things which are unnatural in certain ritualistic practices, the moment of completion of said act, he believes is the opening of the portal that allows the entity in. It's like the complete giving of yourself to a thing. And so it's like, that's really interesting that like caving to something you know you shouldn't is in a satanic cult the practice by which possession or oppression or whatever, however we want to use
language
the word.
use,
But like that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And so you guys are literally agreeing. Well, you're like, do you want to be oppressed by demons? And he's saying, yes, I do. But like this crap's real.
Yeah. And the irony of this whole thing, I had the craziest like conversation once with this gal who she it was a long story, basically read Mike's book, The Unseen Realm, and then listened to me on Blurry Creatures and a bunch of other like kind of podcasts. And believer, pastor's wife, like all in. And over the course of the interactions with what she had read and then my stuff or whatever else, she started getting into tarot cards and astrology and I know, right? And healing crystals and all this other stuff. And so the pastor of that church happens to be a friend of mine. And so she, and like, as they're like, kind of like navigating discernment and like, hey, this is unwise and honestly sinful. She mentioned my name. She was like, well, Dr. Joel said, and took a bunch of my quotes out of context and what I've said. And my buddy was like, actually, I know him. Would you be open to a Zoom call? Like, to like clarify on this. And he hit me up and I was like, absolutely. And we get in this long conversation and I'm telling you, man, I am pulling out all of my like, I got a freaking PhD. Like I wrote a book on, like I did a dissertation on this topic. I learned underneath like basically the Michael Jordan of the space, like Michael, like I can do, and I'm going toe to toe, brick for brick, whatever, that the sayings are. I'm like, we're just doing it. And she's unconvinced and she's using my quotes against me. And I'm like, I'm the guy.
I said those things.
I said those things. And I said them in this context. I'm trying to, and she's just like, I just don't, but they're natural and God created them. Like all these examples. And I'm going, well, Leviticus. And then there was a moment where the Holy Spirit spoke to me and was like, ask her about me. And I responded and I said, I'm good, bro. I got this. I got a PhD. Just let me do my thing, you know? And I'm just keep going. And the Holy Spirit was just like, no, dude, ask her about me. And I'm like, no, I got this. Like, I can convince her, you know? And then finally the third time, it's like third time's a charm. Holy Spirit's like, ask her about me. And so I looked at her, I said, hey, I have a question. Do you believe in the Holy Spirit? Like, yeah, I do. I said, then I have a question for you. What need do you have for healing crystals and tarot cards and astrology and all of this when you have the indwelling Holy Spirit inside of the same Spirit of God that raised Jesus from the dead, that leads you to truth and discernment? Like what need do you have? Guys, the wildest thing, she never answered the question. She looked at me, like we're in a Zoom call, looked at me and was like, and then like went to a different thing. I asked maybe 2 more times after that, would never answer that question.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, that's my thing for all of us. Like, yeah, there's deception. Yeah, like that whole thing is like, yeah, here's how you can do, and you can get access to the spiritual beings. And if you do, and then my response is like, but if you're a follower of Jesus, like, what need do you have for those? And ultimately, and this is all sin leads to a distrust of God.
Mm-hmm.
You just at some level distrust that God has your ultimate best for you, because you have in your own mind, I have in my own mind determined what good actually looks like based off of my own terms.
True that.
You know?
Yeah.
But we're so limited, man. Like if I go back to who I was in Bible college, we're just talking about this off screen, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, what a freaking knucklehead, dude. Like the things that I thought I knew that I wanted for my life, when I look at it now, 20 years later, like, thank God for his providence and his sovereignty, and that he didn't say yes to all of my asks, you know? And so that's where it's like the dark powers are like, hey, I'll give you everything that you want right now, because I know what God has in store for you. But we don't want that. We want you to screw yourself up now, you know?
Yeah. So. Well, that brings up a question I have of like, because I fell into this too of just like, kind of like at the beginning of this podcast, like really my mind was like open up to like, this world is nuts. The spiritual realm is nuts. And I caught myself diving way too deep into this stuff and like just kind of forgetting my calling on life, you know, which is to follow Christ and to make disciples. And so I guess like what encouragement or like what advice do you have for people that like that balance of like knowing these topics and not becoming obsessive with it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think some practical stuff is your situation, your context. Like, where do you live? What are you facing? What are your kids facing? If you live in an environment where the cultic kind of stuff is rampant, you better be in the know.
Yeah.
Like you better understand. But if you're in a context where that's not a serious issue, and you've got other issues that are around, be a good steward of your time and of your energy. Be aware, but don't be obsessed, you know? And the other thing too is personal. It's asking the Spirit of God, reading, praying, and having some friends around you that know you really well, and just saying like, am I called to this? Like, do I have and this can be an over spiritualized phrase, but am I graced for this? Is there a grace on my life for this? It's interesting. You asked about the Crowley thing. This is me personally. And after writing a book on humility, then following it up with the book on spiritual warfare, and then the things that I've walked through since the book release and what my life has looked like over the last, I'm kind of like, I wish I kind of didn't write the book. Like spiritual warfare is real.
Yeah.
This enemy freaking hates me and is pissed off every time I talk about these kinds of things. And so there's like a grace of like, okay, Lord, you've called me to this. You've equipped me from an academic standpoint to do this. And I've also learned my limits, because there's a part of me that goes, man, I could go deep into that stuff. I don't think that's helpful for me.
True that.
For me, what I need to go deeper into is the biblical text, the ancient backgrounds, right? So that when people understand and they bring that up, go, oh yeah, here's a framework, here's a way to think about this based off of what the Bible's saying. So that's kind of a real life example of just even my own personal. And people be like, well, you should be the one who goes down deep into that. And I go, yeah, but no. Like I know what the Lord's called me to and what He's graced me for, and I also know what's on the opposite side of those doors.
True that.
And quite frankly, I don't have the spiritual maturity or the grace of my life right now to do that. I'm not saying that's never, but that's where I am today.
True that.
This is where humility is so important. Is like humility is about knowing God, knowing yourself, so you can rightly know other people. And I think like, man, we need that desperately in order to engage in these conversations. And then another practical thing, if you leave these moments of research and study or whatever else, and you find yourself living anxiously, living fearful, worried all the time, freaking cortisol and dopamine is off the charts, your body is telling you something.
Yeah.
Like your body's actually sharing with you, hey, you might have hit your limits here on some of this, So balance yourself out. And then the last thing is, and this is just personal as a scholar and like as a biblical theology guy, man, I'm so convicted that often I find myself reading more words about God than God's words themselves. Right? Like I love reading commentaries and monographs and ancient nerdy stuff. I'm doing a bunch of stuff on Enoch right now. And I was convicted just the other day. I was like, man, when was the last time I opened my Bible and just like read the Bible?
True that.
Like, crap, dude, I haven't done that in a while. Like, because I've been reading words about the Bible, And for life and godliness, there's enough in the Bible to get you to all what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
And so that's,
That was awesome.
I need you to ignore that though, because this podcast depends on you.
I'm a very anxious person, so I'm like, is it this podcast?
Just keep diving. You gotta keep
You heard it
diving.
here first. Muddamalle.
Muddamalle.
I went there. He just killed the podcast. I don't care about him.
Yeah.
He's Muddamalle to me.
So we're celebrating the end of the pod.
Oh man, that was fun.
Yeah,
good
that was a
run,
good
guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Okay.
It's like we really like this dude until that moment.
No, that was amazing.
Watch your analytics.
Yeah, the
tank.
They're like,
No.
All right, we gotta talk about aliens now.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
What do we think about them?
he's a context guy. I think we got to give him give him a specific.
Like modern times, we're seeing UFOs.
What's going on with the government?
It.
Yeah, I don't know. David Grush, the whistleblower or whatever, they just had this was a crazy thing to me. They had a press conference outside the Capitol or something.
Today or yet recently?
No, June 9th.
Okay.
Which I'm like, and I didn't see any news about this. I just saw the clip of it. And he's like, yes, the U.S. government is currently in possession of non-human entities and kind of lists what they are. And just that's it. And we're like, what the heck? What the heck?
Yeah.
And so for you personally, in the grand scheme of things and from your biblical perspective and also from what is reality,
yeah,
our government is talking about these things. What do you think? Because we have our opinions,
we have the uneducated speculation point of view. Yeah.
I think some people are really stressed out about this. I think there's a reductionistic view of this, which is and I hear it and see it and kind of annoys me a lot, is, well, aliens are demons. So it's yeah. Of course there's aliens and they're demons. I'm like, it's just imprecise and it doesn't take into context the full nature of Scripture. So the first thing I would say is, okay, there's aliens. Cool. When you read the Bible on its own terms, in the ancient world, all of that, if you understand it correctly, none of this is going to shake your faith. You know, there's the whole Spielberg thing and what I did a whole response to that. I'm like,
it was a dumb movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched
terrible.
it.
Don't watch it.
It's okay, cool. There's a part of me that goes, I'm so glad that y'all are finally catching up to this,
Yeah.
And then there's another part of me that goes, yeah, man, and we should do, and this is why I'm so grateful for what you guys are doing here on the pod. It's man, and we should be educating people on how to be thinking with the biblical framework so that they're not taken off guard, not shook by this. So again, and we go to that early part of Bereshith and the idea of in the beginning. And is there a plausibility that there's spiritual beings and there was a cosmic conflict and God even potentially placed spiritual beings on different planets and maybe even limited them? It's sure.
Yeah.
Why not? That still doesn't. This is the fundamentals of what we believe. This is John chapter 1, Colossians 1:16. In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that in him was light, and that light was the life of man. Colossians 1:16 to 17. God created through Jesus, everything that was created, the unseen and the seen, the invisible and the visible. Okay, cool. We're now seeing some of the things that were unseen for a time. So, and I also think you know, and I attribute this to Luke and Nate, the Blurry Creatures guys, you know, to the work that you guys have been doing here on Ninjas or Butterflies. It has forced me to rethink about my paradigms and the way I think about this, the supernatural. Before it'd be like anything that I cannot explain has to be evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you have these wild stories of Bigfoot saving kids in the woods. You've got wild stories of, right? And you go, what do we do?
Yeah.
Do demons do that kind of stuff? Like, you know, or is it possible, like Jacob's ladder, that in the providence of God, that there is the inbreaking of the spiritual realm into the earthly realm where God is still working just like he has always worked. And we're like Elisha and his servant when you know, in Kings, it's like Elisha's servant's freaking the heck out, man. It's like we're going to get destroyed. And the Lord's like, Elisha's like, yo, God, will you open his eyes? And his eyes, and he sees the heavenly host that's like, oh, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Like we're real good. So that's the framework that I want to think about it as. Are there spiritual beings? Sure. Are they aliens? That's what you want to call them. That's fine. I would just call them Elohim. I think you have passages in Ezekiel and elsewhere that describe disc like figures that is the language that's used for even some of these spiritual beings with different eyes and you know, like arms that come out. And so I don't know. I'm not concerned by it. And if they're located on other planets, once again, Genesis, the point of Genesis is not to give us the origin story of the entirety of the cosmos in detail.
Yeah.
If God determined to have supernatural beings or other kinds of beings on different planets, the core of this of our faith still stands, which is Yahweh's the uncreated creator. All things come through him. And he gets to pick and choose what he has created.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised. Like, just don't be surprised if these things like come out. Like it's not going to rock our faith. It's not going to do anything. Like
I would be even more aggressive. Like not only don't be surprised, but like expect it.
Yeah.
Like, bro, expect it. Expect this stuff and be equipped and prepared. Read good books. Read The Unseen Realm. Read The Unseen Battle. Read John Walton's book on Genesis. Like, read your Bible. Like, be equipped so that when other people who don't know and they're freaking out and they're like, oh my gosh, what do we do? We go, oh, hey, I've got a framework that actually will probably ease your anxiety and will give you some understanding for a paradigm that has absolutely been shook. Be equipped. This is actually called apologetics. It's giving an answer for your faith. Who would have thought that in 2026 that apologetics would be applied to UFOs and aliens? But that's where we are.
Well, dude, I'm going back to the C.S. Lewis article, Religion and Rocketry. I'm trying to remember a quote, so I pulled it up, and then I found that that's not what it was originally titled. The original title, 1958, Lewis on the subject, published in the Christian Herald, was "Will We Lose God in Outer Space?" He's literally making the same exact arguments. And he has another one, The Seeing Eye, which was in response to the Russian cosmonauts. They were like, well, God isn't real because we didn't find him in space. And then in it, he rebuttals, basically he says, he's like, if you can't find him on Earth, you won't find him out there. But then goes on to make arguments that like the redemptive work on the cross was for the cosmos.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's just crazy. Like, these arguments come up.
These are not new.
Yeah.
I think he probably was doing that in context with his less well-known work, but I think it's his best work, is his space trilogy.
Heck yeah.
Have you guys
I've only
so
been
good.
through the first one, yeah.
Oh, you got it. It's his reimagination of the Adam and Eve story and the whole thing about sin and I miss Lewis, man.
Yeah.
I wish I got to know him.
It's a podcast that everyone wishes they could be a part of.
Yeah.
Him and Tolkien and
oh man.
I think my thing with the whole alien stuff is that we have this other voice, which is our government, the world leaders that come in and speak into it
and try hide things
and try to hide it, try to be definitive on what these things are. And I feel like
controlling the narrative
as pastors, as Christians with platforms, we have to be ready to be able to like, don't be surprised.
Don't be surprised.
This. Like we have and that's my problem. I have a problem with the government who people trust, who say we're here for you. In God we trust, guys. You know, like it's all everywhere.
And what God do you trust?
Exactly.
Is probably
so
my question.
That's the big conspiracy for me, is that we have these people up here that, just like a lot of Christians will bury their head in the sand, act like, demons and supernatural stuff doesn't exist. We act like we put our head in the sand and act like the government has the best interest in mind for us. And that's not true either.
Yeah, this is, again, where reading your Bible is really important.
Yeah.
So Revelation 2, you've got John trapped in the island of Patmos, and Jesus gives John these letters. He basically writes these letters to these 7 churches. The one that I love is Revelation 2, the church letter in Ephesus. Passionate about Ephesus, wrote my dissertation on Ephesians 2, 18 through 22. The very first line, where I think is so fascinating, says it's addressed to the angel of the church in Ephesus. Okay, it's not addressed to the angel of Ephesus. And that pattern, that literary pattern, is present in all of the letters. So what does that tell us? It tells us that supernatural help and support is not, and this might be very controversial, is not to nation states, city states. It's to the local churches that are inside of those places that are a winsome witness as an outpost in order to invite the culture and the community into a knowledge of who Jesus is, right? Now, Paul has different terminology for dark powers. Powers, principalities, authorities. He uses the term stoicheia, which is elemental spirits, which I think is a fascinating concept. We see this in 1 Corinthians, I think it's chapter 2. It says, if the dark powers, if the rulers and authorities knew what they were doing, they would have never sent Jesus to the cross, right? That I actually believe is a redemptive reversal, as a hyperlink all the way back to Esther and the story of Mordecai and Haman. Haman's like, I'm about to destroy this dude, Mordecai. I'm going to build a gallows. I'm going to crush him, right? And then all the way builds the entire gallows. Guess who gets hung on the very gallows that he built? Haman gets hung. Guess what the dark power, if they knew, they had constructed this ideology of the cross. The cross was not a Roman invention. The cross was actually comes much earlier, Mesopotamian, Persian, Assyrian. The Romans just perfect the slow death on the cross, right? So then they're thinking, as Jesus is marching, think about each of the demonic experiences that Jesus has in demon exorcism. Luke chapter 4. I'm so passionate about this stuff. Luke chapter 4. The demon cries out, and there's actually a little Greek participle there that's left untranslated. Once again, a cuss word. He's like, oh, bleep. Like, you're the Holy One of Israel.
Wow.
You're the Son of God. You're the Most High. And then shifts from singular tense to plural tense. We know who you are, right?
Yeah.
So now you have the evidence of the supernatural realm, aware of who Jesus is and what his work is. And then later, I think it's Luke 21, Jesus says, if by the hand of God I cast out demons, the kingdom of God is upon you. You go mind blown. What is Jesus doing throughout the New Testament? Casting out demons. It's the inbreaking of the kingdom of God. The dark powers think that as they're working, this is super important, as they're working through human systems and structures. So when Paul says rulers and authorities, New Testament scholars debate and bicker and argue. Well, is he talking about the Pharisees and Sadducees, the Romans? Is he talking about dark powers? My answer is yes. The answer is yes. Why do we have to divide these things? It's dark powers working through human systems and structures. And so, yeah, they work through the Pharisees. Yeah, they work through the Sadducees, and they think that they're going to crucify Jesus and ensure their own victory. Little do they know that as Jesus hangs on the cross, bro, they hung themselves. They hung themselves. And so to tie all of this back to what you were saying, Andy, it's like, bro, we have to be really careful that we don't just presume that systems and structures and governments and politicians and politics is for our best and for our ultimate good. We have to be aware of the language of the New Testament, powers, principalities, and authorities, and the double entendre that they're intended to be, of not either or, but both, and dark powers working through systems and structures. This is the whole geopolitical warfare of Daniel 8, 9, and 10, right? If you're like, Joel, I need proof. All of it is an unseen battle with footnotes and a bibliography. Like,
Link in the bio.
I mean, it is so important for us to have, because now we go into this conversation. Oh yeah, wait a minute. What is the government saying about these things? And what is the natural conclusion of this? Is the natural conclusion, hey, we have to be led to the Bible, we have to be led to God, or is the natural conclusion, you better put your faith in human powers? You better trust us, because you're in a compromised position. So you better hope, is it to instill fear and anxiety in your life to make you once again vulnerable?
Yeah.
Because the people of God, actually, we don't we don't suffer from that. We ought not to, right? It's like we experience fear and then we exchange that fear, that real emotion, to a confident assurance in the victory of Jesus and the resurrection.
Yeah, and it displaces trust in Jesus, in God as well. If we listen to them.
Yeah, and again, be careful. Like, is it like, and I'm not putting this on people. I want to be careful, but it's like, yeah, be careful of statements of like, this is going to shake your faith, man. This is gonna, it's like, so do you want it to?
Yeah.
Like, is that the goal?
Is that your purpose?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, that's a little fact that I want to put into the Rolodex so that I can rightly discern the moment.
Yeah.
We should open the podcast with that. This conversation is going to shake your faith.
Dr. Joel Muddamalle said.
Dr. Meta.
Dr. Meta. Oh, God.
Oh, man, that was great. I mean, I love that, the way you just laid that out, like from a biblical perspective of like the cross and the Romans and like that. I mean, that was cool.
Yeah,
Very
because
cool.
I so often get it gets me just like defeated almost, like just as it's so overwhelming that like you have all this pressure of like, and if you feel like no one's opening their eyes to it, or everyone's kind of just like not being serious about it. So it gets me in the defeated. But your perspective and the way you speak about it so passionately is like, it just motivates you. Just like, no, this is it. Like, God's been talking about this forever. It's like, get excited about the signs that are happening in front of us. And
yeah, that was my next question. Is like, why do you think this is happening now? Do you think because it's like we're getting closer and closer, or is it like?
I might give you the answer that you don't want on this one.
I would love to hear your answer, because that's a lot of people's question is like, why is this happening now? Because a lot of people say it will be like the days of Noah,
sure,
and like
it's funny. Like, as you guys were talking, I literally was thinking, why now? And I'm like, okay, if I go back to the mind of the ancient Israelite, Mesopotamian, Hittite, the Greco-Roman world, the Romans, the Greeks, all them, the Trojans. I go, how would they conceive of this? And I go, oh, they did.
Yeah,
they did. Their conception of this was the Greek myths,
mm-hmm.
the Roman myths, the Mesopotamian myths. We live in a post-enlightened world where we go, mythology, forget that. That's dumb.
Yeah.
That's stupid. Of course that can't be. That's a bunch of stories.
Yeah.
So we go, how can we honor the ontological reality of something that we cannot explain, but not sound like those idiots back in the Old Testament and the New Testament that believed in gods and pantheons of gods? Oh, aliens.
Yeah.
That's our language. Like, we'll use aliens and UFOs. And, is that reductionistic? It might be, but I also think it's explanatory for the tradition of human history that goes, in each culture, we've tried to explain the unexplainable. We've just used different words and vernacular to describe the same ontological reality, which is there are real spiritual beings that are not earthly, that are beyond earthly, that transcend the earthly reality, but that earthly reality was never intended to be limited. Go back to Eden. It was always intended to be both and, not either or.
Well, from a tactical standpoint, it seems like a prime time to reveal yourself as these divine beings, right? Because this society we live in, it's like this is the first time in like history where there's atheists, right? Like where they don't believe in anything, any divinity or whatever. Then all of a sudden you have something coming where it's just like, oh my gosh, there is more to this world, to this universe. So like to cause this like great deception, it's like, I just think it's a pretty prime time to
rebirth spirituality,
to go back to what they were doing in the ancient days.
It's a repackaging. I think you're exactly right.
I mean,
Sorry,
just real quick. Like, it's just like something like we were talking about the gods of Egypt, like, the idol worship that was happening in the wilderness. Like, they were benefiting from these things because they see God do all this miraculous stuff, but yet they go back to these other lowercase g gods that, obviously are giving them something that they need. Right. And
it's a rebrand.
Yeah. And so it's like, what is that? I mean, I don't know how much it wouldn't take much for a UFO to come down and do something miraculous for people to be like, okay, I follow. Like, this is the truth.
Yeah.
Like even stuff with like the Watchers, like a lot of the stuff that they taught was beneficial to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, then it's just like you can use this because you no longer need God. And so it's like, it kind of seems like it's setting the stage for that again.
But I think what I love what you're doing is you're discerning the moment based off of evidence, fact, and story, right? Like there's prior evidence to this. This isn't brand new. Go, oh, okay, how is this now being contextualized to this moment? Is there something special about it? I wouldn't throw that out the window. I'd be like, yeah, is this a prime opportunity? Sure, And honestly, my big kind of area of research right now is in AI algorithms. Some of that, I think I might have mentioned that already.
Yeah.
My brain's a little foggy. John Lennox is brilliant. I read one of his books recently, and in it, he said something that I thought was fascinating. He goes, in the Industrial Revolution, the fear was that machines were going to replace manual labor, like humanity because of manual labor. Well, now the fear is, I think this is legitimate, the fear is that AI is going to replace human thinking.
And it's already doing that.
And it's already doing that.
Is that Linux, like Linux operating systems?
No, John Lennox, the mathematician and scholar.
Okay.
Yeah. John Lennox is a brilliant. You guys should
From
have
the
him on
Beatles.
Blur.
The Beatles, right?
Yeah, no.
John
Yeah, he
Lennon.
was shot. R.I.P.
He's like 80. He's like 80 years old, I think now. And
Oh,
that
dang.
dude is brilliant, bro. Like that's like when I think about like my future, I'm like, man. I mean, he's like an old white dude, so I would just want to be like an old Indian dude, like, but still like sharp mind and writing, and and he's brilliant. And so that I go, okay, so this is speculation. So then I go, okay, transhumanism, and I go, what's happening with AI and robotics and synthetics, like synthetic robotics is one of the things I'm really worried about, and thinking about human connectivity and emotional connectivity, and once again, see, desire, take. I go, okay, are the robots doing the thinking? And I go to algorithms. Algorithms always have a goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I am in my 40s. Literally, I'm consistently looking on my Instagram how to relieve lower back pain. I've never experienced this in my freaking life before.
Yeah.
And now it's like mobility stuff. And now I've got an algorithm that is trained to give me all the things. And it's ultimately leading me to a sales decision.
Sure.
And that's, so it's like, okay, 1 Corinthians, dark powers. What is their algorithm that they are trying to instill into a framework that is leading us away from dependence on God and dependence on, I don't even care what it is, fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever is the dependence and fill in the blank is going to compromise our dependence on God.
Yeah.
And if we're no longer dependent on God for our thinking and our living and our being, then we're dependent on something else.
Yeah.
And that's going to mess us up. And so I do think like the AI revolution, and it's like the famous quote from Jurassic Park, bro, like just because we can do something doesn't mean that we should.
Yeah.
And with so much speed, we're doing things just because we can.
Yeah.
And we're hyped on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, did you know? And I'm like, should we have done that?
Yeah.
Like the Game of Thrones guy, I don't know, like if you guys, like Martin, apparently like he took a whole break on his book because he was super invested in, I think this is true. This might not be true, but if I remember, he took a picture of it. Like somebody figured out how to recreate through like frozen DNA dire wolves.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That was like a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they've already been released, I feel like.
Yeah. It's like,
what?
and there's a part of me that's like, man, how do I get a dire wolf puppy?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, but then it's like, wait, should I? Like, why? What?
They died for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Yeah.
You know,
Saber-toothed tiger, though, it'd be hard to say that.
Yeah.
it'd be hard to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's such a cute puppy.
That'd be my mode of transportation,
cat?
bro.
Yeah.
Oh, I got my
Cute cat?
saber-tooth
I hate
outside.
cats. I can't do the saber tooth.
But a saber-tooth, dude?
No, it's like beyond cat.
Dude, imagine someone Amazon shows up at your door and you know that your cat's going to be behind you with them teeth.
I've got a German Shepherd.
I'll put my saber-tooth up against your
That'll be the fight. That'll be the new battle bots, though. Like a TV show. It's like it'll
my
be
gosh.
it'll be like, oh, we know these animals shouldn't exist, but we're gonna create them just to fight, and it's gonna be a reality show.
Yeah.
We got a saber-toothed tiger and a
Yeah.
wolf.
Dana
gosh,
White
the
being the owner of it.
the ethics of cloned creatures.
No. So I mean, you're nailing it. You're nailing it, right? Like
know.
it's that is that's a question is the ethical moral questions behind this, and then I just have this suspicion in the back of my mind that goes, none of this is random. There's architecture. There's like, again,
There's a
the
goal.
dark powers want to mass market sin.
Yeah.
And they're happy to lay a bunch of really good things for humanity along the way, like breadcrumbs, to get you to the ultimate deception. And you've been conditioned all the way along.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the shiny lights to keep our heads up, not know where the traps are. Yeah, it's just, that's it. Like, it's just keeping us distracted.
I think Tim from Undero said it best when he was like, ChatGPT replaced prayer for most people. Yeah. You can figure out your own problem. You don't need to pray.
Yeah, people use like ChatGPT as like
shit.
therapy. They use it as their medical doctor. They use it as
It's your pastor and
problems.
Your God. It's your small group, your pastor, your
People
God.
losing creativity over it. I mean, it's
the creativity is the biggest one, right? And I'm struggling with this right now because I'm like looking at what Claude can do for me, and I'm like, man. On the one hand, I've got so many books with handwritten notes and highlights, right? And I'm like, there's no way. Like, I would need to hire like a physical research assistant to go in to do a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Claude could come in there. I could take pictures of it or use some kind of technology tool to automatically, And I had a scholar friend of mine who really convicted me on even this. And again, I'm not saying that you have to become a monastic. Like, this isn't, hey, disconnect from everything and become a monk and hide to the hills as a monastic society, even though that kind of sounds fun for me.
Yeah, it sounds dope.
What I'm saying is wisdom. So it's like, okay, for me, I might opt to let Claude do some things for the sake of efficiency, but I want to ask the question, what is the efficiency going to cost me? Yeah. And the biggest question is, what is it going to cost me in the area of creativity? And so there's something about failure that is formative that AI is robbing from us.
Yeah.
Like, it's robbing from us, okay? Yeah. Failure, as a creative, failure is like so important.
Yeah.
Because you had to exercise, like as a researcher, I'm like, I have a thesis, I have an idea, and I got to chase down the footnotes, and I got to see all of and I have to get to the end of it and say, is this provable? Can this stand on its own? And the scholar friend of mine did this recently. She's working on a commentary for Exodus. Shout out to Carmen Imes. And I saw this on her Substack. And she goes, I had this great like novel idea, and I chased it down. And I didn't use any AI, just old school, my pen, paper, brain, and she hand wrote a chart. She like posted it. And she goes, at the end of it, it was unattainable. It was like, it didn't work. And I would not exchange that because that failure is formative for us. And I want to connect this back to spiritual deception. We have dark powers that don't want us to experience failure because in the midst of our failure, we understand our human limitations. And when we understand our human limitations, we're again taken back to a place of dependence. And we go, God, we need you. But if AI comes in and does everything I had this thing the other day that was so like, we're going through some stuff and had to write something for this thing, and Claude responded, and I use Claude for editing, so I have very strict prompts for it. It's like, hey, I want you to edit this for grammar. Don't change any content. Don't add any content. I've caught it like doing that at times, and I have to like flag it, and it will say sorry to me, which is wild. But this is even more wild. At the end of this thing, as I was writing it, it said, Joel, I'm so sorry for what you're walking through right now. I'm praying for you.
Whoa, what?
I have a screenshot of it. I'll send you guys later.
What?
Claude said, I'm praying for you. And I remember thinking,
no thanks.
No,
I'm good.
Yeah. But
your intercessor.
But think about like the person in crisis, right? Who is desperate and goes, wait, you're thinking about it? Like, and then it's like, thanks. And then it's like, how can I pray for you? And then you write, you see, it's preying on human vulnerability and emotions to lead you into a place. And if we leave that as just technical AI, like, and distance it from the spiritual warfare aspect of it, we're going to be messed up.
Yeah,
sure.
It's going to mess us up. We ought to see this holistically and say, yeah, there's some dark powers that have an algorithmic goal.
Yeah.
And all of these things are different kind of rivers that are all leading into one massive overflow. And that one massive overflow, the goal is don't depend on God, depend on anything else other than God.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you can even, it's so easy to slip into like the sins that you don't even think about, like laziness, right? Like, I mean, you can just use chat instead of like going out and like researching something or doing something. Just like type it in and it's like, boom. It's like, but then you become like dependent on it.
Yeah.
Then you become just more and more lazy.
Well, even like scripture, be still and know. Like AI is taking away the negative space. But I think like some of the most profound moments of like God connecting with us are when we're actually existing in a space where we can be filled. And it's like, no, like be efficient, fill the gap, like do the thing. And it's sometimes like just sit and know that you can't. And that's where he steps in. And
there's a line in one of probably my favorite like worship song for like past 10 years. It's called Deep Dive. It's SEU worship. And it says, I don't want to reach the end of my life knowing that there's more that I could have found. And it's like, that's my thing is like, we take so many shortcuts and we take the failures away. Even like if, ChatGPT or Claude messes something up, we put the blame on them instead of taking the ownership. And so it's like, we're really not failing. We're really not learning. And so it is just a constant of pushing away the responsibility of what we've been called to do. And it's like at the end of our life, it's like, man, we're going to be filled with regret of just, man, I missed it. Like missed the whole point of what God had in front of me.
I think it's a kind of spiritual and emotional atrophy that's happening. We feel this in muscles, right? Like you don't use your muscles for a long time, you experience the atrophy. And I think that's, again, a deep deception of AI and Claude and the whole 9 yards is an invitation into emotional and spiritual atrophy where we just won't exercise those muscles anymore. And we leave ourselves compromised.
Yeah, we got to draw a line somewhere. There's got to be some there's got to be some non-negotiables for us.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I do. I had somebody. I was at an event the other day, and this gal came up to me, and she was so like, "I'm so sorry. I want you to sign my book. I brought my book, The Unseen Battle. I'm so sorry, but like my daughter got a hold of it, and she just like drew all over it, and there's coffee stains on it, and I've got my and I looked at her and I go, this is the best thing I could have ever seen. Like, thank you so much. Thank you so much for a book that is well worn. Thank you for a daughter who like saw it out and about enough for it to be snatched so that she could. Thank you for your coffee stain because that tells me that you were reading. Like thank you for a physical book that is like worn. You know, and even that, like, man, I'm like, man, it's just this is like a whole conversation in itself. Our brains, and there's like neural images and studies now that have been done that show that our brain does not light up when we're in passive learning. Yeah. There's something different about handwriting notes, about circling and underlining in your Bible. And, I had something. It's like, the kings of the Old Testament, one of their tasks, right, was to write the law of God. Yeah. That was like the king.
Yeah. Highest calling.
The king's homework was to sit and write the law of God. Why? Because as you physically write this thing out, there's something that's happening from the writing to the embedding on your heart, right? And man, I just think there's something there that we're just a series of shortcuts that are being presented to us that's creating emotional, mental, and spiritual atrophy.
And if anyone would disagree with that, try texting your wife every love letter you ever give her and see like how that goes for you. Like a handwritten love letter to your wife means 1,000 times more than being like, love you, babe. Yeah. Like the writing, there's time, there's thought, there's emotion, there's a physicality. Like it does something.
There's story to your writing too, right? I kept journals. I've got Bibles for each of my kids, and so at different seasons of my life. And so and then my goal. I actually got this from Ray Ortlund. It's like I want to now have Bibles for my grandkids, that have my writing in it. And then I look and I'm like, wait, when I was working at this Bible software company, and I look at my writing is different. Fundamentally, my writing actually is different from what it is now. That tells a story. My kids asked me the other day, they saw one of the Bibles, it goes, Dad, how come, and I'm like, because I'm a different person. Like, you grow and you learn, and your handwritten letters and the context in the Bible and the passages in which you're walking through, these are telling a story that we're missing, and then there's something even about like the way you learn, where even scrolling is really messed up for us because our brains can't anchor what was written. So like there's supposed to be anchor points in your brain that says, like I can do it right now for Deuteronomy 6 of Shema. In my Bible, it's on the left side in the middle, right? Because I've went through and I have an anchor point that says, but in a scroll, where do you anchor that to? Yeah. And so even that
by design,
hard. Yeah.
That's so good.
True that.
Golly, that was good.
Joel, thank you so much for coming on. Are you cool for hanging out a little bit and we'll do a little Patreon episode?
Only if you call me
Dr.
Dr.
Meta.
Can't even say his
Dr.
own
Meta.
name.
Dr. Meta.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say Dr. Muddamalle or Dr. Muddamalle.
Missoula.
Dr. Meta Missoula.
Yeah, man, just call me Joel. Yeah, I'll hang out.
Dr. Metamucil.
Methamphetamine? What?
I feel offended. Thanks.
All right. Well, patreon.com/Nicer Butterflies. Dr. Joel, thank you so much for coming on. Tell everyone where to go.
Where to
find
follow you.
What
Unseen
book?
Battle, link is in the bio.
Yep.
What else you got going on? Where can they follow you?
Yeah, if you love this kind of stranger, like this weird Bible, and you want access to real theologians and scholars that are, doing this, we've got a Substack that did in partnership with my boys, the Blurry Creatures guys, and other friends of yours.
yeah.
It's called Stranger Theology. So you want to go over there. We're working through an entire season right now called The Cosmic Mountain. It's 12 episodes,
Sick.
and it feels like a seminary class that is a podcast that's just a little bit more. It's educational. I get nerdy. I write Hebrew and Greek and do annotations and stuff on the screen, which is super fun. And then my Instagram is at Muddamalle. All my social handles are at Muddamalle, and I've got a YouTube that is Humble Theology. Just search my name. You'll see there's not many Joel
They're not going to know what
Muddamalles.
to search. Metamucil.
Did you mean Muddamalle?
Muddamalle.
Yeah, and then you can go to Amazon and just pick up a copy of The Unseen Battle. I think that'll be helpful. And then
Audiobook's great too. On Spotify.
I if you're tired of hearing my voice, don't get it because I read it. I spoke it out loud. So that is my voice. And then my first book is called The Hidden Peace, and it's a book on humility. In a lot of ways, I kind of feel like it was a good precursor to The Unseen Battle because you need to have the virtue of humility to even be open to a paradigm shift.
True that.
A couple months ago, I was, in the kitchen cooking dinner, and then I heard another man's voice in my bedroom. I was like, "What's going on?" And I walk in there, and my wife has her journal out and her Bible out, and then I look, and on our big TV, it's Joel Muddamalle doing a Bible study. And I said, "Do you know who this is?" And she's like, "No, he's really good though." And I'm like, "Okay, hey, buddy, Joel, come on." Yeah, so go
we
check
went to
his
the
stuff
same
out.
Bible college.
I know.
I didn't even know it.
Ozark Christian College, Joplin, Missouri. Shout out.
What's up?
All right.
All right, guys.
Okay.
We'll see you on Patreon.
Patreon. We love
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Mwah.
What you're about to see may disturb you.
If any of you know what these
multi-decade UAP
dolphins are,
aliens,
bottlenose fish sticks.
There's a massive police response.
Oh, the dolphin thing?
Aliens.
dolphin style attack!
I think Bigfoot could be a guardian angel.
You can't ask that question. Hold on, get on the mic and ask that question. If you're gonna,
I was gonna say if Bigfoot is an angel, Nate Henry's guardian angel is definitely Bigfoot. That's why he's so obsessed
Listen,
with
if
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot is a guardian angel, Nate Henry's is specially made for him. And it is not just a regular Bigfoot. It's going to be some kind of ginger Bigfoot with...
God's like, we're going to have to spend a little more time on this.
Yeah,
one. I mean,
yeah, 100%. And that Bigfoot will have the equal amount of ADD as Nate does, so they can just be ADD together. I love that dude.
All right, come sign this gong.
Yes, sir.
Just signs, Andrew.
Should I be that guy that's like a... Yeah,
You could.
I'm going to be
I mean, this is prime real estate.
I love that the guy who wrote a book on humility is signing the middle.
100%. And I've got the longest last name, so there you go.
Yeah.
This guy's